checking out the Prodeco Outlaw EX. Now this is a really exciting looking bike just because it's got these long travel shocks in the front. I mean, look at that, it's crazy. These really oversized Elixir disc brakes, front and rear. And there's something about this bike that's it's exciting. I mean, you look at it and you think, like, that's going to be awesome. Part of what makes it exciting is the specs on the motor and battery. So let me get into that. The 750 watt gearless rear hub motor. It's gearless, which means that it could offer regenerative braking or some of this other stuff, but they don't. This bike doesn't even have twist throttle. You kind of ride it like a scooter. It doesn't have pedal assist or a twist throttle. It has a thumb throttle, and that's that right there. So you push that down and the bike goes, and it definitely goes. You know, it's got good torque, good power. If you're a larger individual, this bike will get you there for sure. In part because it's got a huge battery on this thing. It's 48 volt, so that offers more power. 12 amp hour, so that's just a lot of power and range. But it's a heavier bike. You look at this thing, the fork is going to weigh a lot extra, the battery, the motor, and they are all kind of positioned off to the back. Also, there's not a lot of suspension sort of supporting this. You're hanging the battery, it's way up high, so the center of gravity is sort of changed on this bike, and it's just, I guess, you do have these larger tires that provide some sort of cushion when you're going over bumps, but a lot of that force goes directly up into that battery mount. And the other thing is you can't really mount anything on top of this battery. So if you were going to try to use this as a commuter or you're backpacking with it or something like that, storage could be an issue. I hear they're working on that for the new Outlaws. So let's get back into the specs. This thing has the Avid Elixir brakes here, hydraulic, really nice. Again, brakes are a big deal when you're carrying a lot of weight and maybe you're bombing down a hill. And it's got these interesting sort of just pretty looking grips here with this sort of like leather styling. 8 gears to choose from. So it's 1 chainring in the front, 8 in the rear. I like the fact that it actually has a water bottle cage mount there. And again, I like the big tires. It does provide a certain amount of cushion when you're riding. Quick release for the seat and everything like that. It's actually got just a really solid feel overall. The pedals, everything on this bike, it says quality for sure, but there are some drawbacks, and I guess I have some complaints when riding. The way this works is, you can turn the battery off. You can actually slide that pack off, so you can charge it on or off the bike, which is nice. To get it going, you turn it on like this, but you have to leave the keys in, and that sucks. I mean, they're like jingling around or whatever. Or you don't have a keychain on it and you forget about it, I guess. I think that could be improved. You've got just a very, very basic empty, half, or full gauge here. It's not telling you, there's no speedometer, there's none of that stuff. It's just very, very basic. And I guess that's part of how they keep it cheap. This bike's just a couple $1,000. And again, the specs seem really great, but part of that's that lithium iron phosphate battery. Now, one thing they did really get right is there's a button here, you can turn on a light. And for safety, it's great that they have that as a feature. I like that a lot. Overall, this is not a bike that I love to ride, and maybe it's just the setup. Maybe it's just this kind of bomber style bike feels this way, but it's as you turn, the bike sort of like, it feels like it could tip fairly easily. And again, I think that's just because there's so much. It's like a low rider, a long rider, like motorcycle or something like that. And when you turn, the whole bike sort of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a boat or something like that. And again, you've got so much weight mounted way up high. I'm trying to figure out how and when I would use this. I mean, it looks cool. The price is great. You've got that huge shock, and here I am out in the desert. I can take it off-road, but since there's no shock on the back, like I'm constantly like, oh, am I going to break that? And frankly, if you go over a big bump and it slides out, I mean, you're going to fall hard on this thing. And I could totally see that happening. Even just on the trails when I turn it, it's a little bit sketchy. So I'm going to take it out for a test ride, show you what the motor sounds like, just try to give you some impression of the strength this thing has. And I think the specs sound better than it actually feels. It offers good strength and stuff, but it's a heavy, big bike. So there's the thumb throttle. Just press it. fact that it's a gearless motor means it coasts smoothly. It's going to last longer. Overall, you know, some good, whoa, there we go. Some good stuff here. And again, the price, I think, is, after you ride the bike, the price is the most exciting thing. There are definitely bikes out there that feel better. And again, maybe it's just the setup with the long travel suspension in the front. A curious bike. For the full written review, more information, check out ElectricBikeReview.com. We'll see you there.